Josh Jacobs emerged as the top running back in the NFL in 2022, topping the league in rushing yards and recording 12 rushing touchdowns. However, his journey to the NFL was far from simple. Once a homeless boy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Jacobs is now a celebrated NFL superstar. How did he achieve this feat? This is the tale of Josh Jacobs. As a child on the north side of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Josh Jacobs was raised by his father, Marty, who gained full custody of Josh and his 4 siblings after his parents separated. Before the separation, the family had financial difficulties, and despite Marty's efforts, he couldn't afford adequate housing. Thus, he found himself solely responsible for all 5 children, uncertain about the next steps. Marty worked tirelessly to earn money and ensure the safety of his children, but they frequently found themselves without a stable place to stay, often spending nights sleeping together in their car. During times when they could afford it, they'd secure a budget-friendly hotel room, unpack for the night, only to pack up again the next day, hitting the road once more. Reflecting on his experiences, Josh mentioned in an interview with SportsCenter, "I normalized a lot of things growing up, like I never thought, wow, I'm sleeping in a car." Josh has mentioned that football was the saving grace in his life, and his exceptional skills as a standout running back have profoundly altered the lives of his entire family. It all began at McLean High School in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Jacobs emerged as a standout on the football field, amassing an impressive 5,372 yards rushing and scoring 56 rushing touchdowns. His former high school teammates lauded his commitment to training, both in the weight room and on the field, considering him an inspiration for future generations of McLean athletes. During high school, Jacobs himself acknowledged that football provided an outlet where he could set aside off-field concerns and concentrate solely on the game, excelling as the best on the field. His challenging upbringing instilled in him a drive to put in hard work. He didn't require external motivation to push himself and was consistently the most industrious individual in any setting. However, his recruitment journey wasn't straightforward. Jacobs mentioned leading the state in rushing, but his exceptional performances failed to garner attention in the newspapers or attract any notice. Despite averaging 15 yards per carry, accumulating over 2,700 rushing yards, and securing 31 touchdowns during his senior year, Josh Jacobs didn't receive a scholarship offer from any FBS school until December that same year. Jacobs believed that the schools disregarded his on-field talents due to biases associated with his upbringing and the high school he represented. Enter Gerald Smith, one of Josh's high school coaches and a recruiting coordinator, who suggested that Josh utilize Twitter to showcase his highlights and statistics on the social media platform. Smith believed that Josh had the potential to play for Alabama, but needed to grab attention. In the weeks approaching National Signing Day, Josh Jacobs' recruiting momentum began to escalate. Despite being a standout player in Oklahoma's high school rosters, receiving offers from various schools like Oklahoma Sooners, Purdue, Iowa State, Missouri, and others, there was one notable SEC powerhouse that stood out among the rest: Alabama. Listed as a 3-star recruit, Jacobs made a visit to Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide, a journey spanning over 700 miles from his hometown. His decision wasn't an easy one, but he ultimately committed on National Signing Day. Transitioning from a homeless young man, sharing a car with his father and siblings, to becoming an SEC running back was a remarkable feat. However, his journey didn't conclude upon arriving at Alabama. Jacobs continued to toil relentlessly, employing the only approach he knew, working harder than anyone else. His dedication and commitment to the program earned Jacobs playing time during his true freshman season, a noteworthy achievement considering the rarity of such opportunities at one of the nation's most esteemed universities under the tutelage of Hall of Fame head coach Nick Saban. The renowned coach, recognizing something special in Jacobs, entrusted him with the football 86 times during his freshman year, resulting in 564 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Additionally, Jacobs contributed with 14 receptions for 166 yards in the passing game. As the NFL draft approached in 2019, Jacobs had completed 3 years at Alabama, tallying 15 rushing touchdowns and 5 receiving touchdowns. He played a pivotal role in securing victories for the Tide in both the SEC Championship and the CFB National Championship during his tenure on campus. Jacobs earned the title of SEC Championship Game MVP for his stellar performance, scoring 2 touchdowns against Georgia. Despite battling the flu before the game, Jacobs received multiple IV shots, one prior to the game, two during the game, and another afterward. He also relied on oxygen on the sidelines whenever possible. Jacobs expressed feeling extreme thirst each time he came off the field, struggling with breathlessness throughout the game. Despite not reaching as high rushing totals as some of his fellow running backs in his class, it's important to highlight that during his second season, Jacobs played through a majority of the season with a broken ankle, which limited his game time. In 2018, operating within a pass-first offense, he managed to rush for 640 yards and score 11 touchdowns, while also making valuable contributions as a pass catcher. His reputation as a hard-working and gritty talent paved his path to the professional level. At his pro day in Alabama, his head coach, Nick Saban, praised Jacobs' exceptional work ethic. Saban emphasized how Jacobs' commitment extended to special teams, highlighting that even in a commanding lead like 56-0, Jacobs would insist on staying in the game. He showcased versatility in running inside, outside, catching the football, and playing as a receiver, possessing all the necessary skills to thrive at the next level. With the endorsement of one of college football's most esteemed coaches, Jacobs was poised for success. In the draft, he was chosen as the 24th overall pick by the Oakland Raiders, becoming the first running back selected in the 2019 draft and the sole running back taken in the first round. His life was on the brink of a significant transformation, signifying the culmination of his relentless hard work and unwavering determination. Upon being drafted, Josh Jacobs received a $6.7 million signing bonus. His initial action was to reward his father, who had consistently cared for him and strived to provide the best opportunities for success despite the numerous challenges their family endured. Just a few months after the draft, Jacobs shared a tweet that said, "Blessed, just bought my pops a house." This marked a poignant moment in the story, as a young man who had worked relentlessly to excel and achieve his best is now capable of repaying his father in the most meaningful way possible. A video captured his father leaning on the kitchen counter of their new home, tears welling in his eyes as he shared a heartfelt moment with his son. Josh Jacobs, known for his humility, spoke during his rookie year about how experiencing a childhood without a stable home or personal bed instills an appreciation for life's smaller joys. As he settled into life with the Raiders, Jacobs made a memorable impact by scoring his first professional touchdown during his debut on Monday Night Football against the Denver Broncos. Mirroring Marcus Allen's iconic play, he leaped over the pile and stretched the football out over the goal line, donning the Raiders jersey. Just 4 weeks later, after his debut, Jacobs achieved his first career 100-yard game, racking up 123 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns against the Chicago Bears. Concluding his rookie season, he amassed a total of 1,150 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. Jacobs continued his success by surpassing the 1,000-yard mark again in 2020, solidifying his position as one of the standout talents for the newly relocated Las Vegas Raiders. In a standout season, Jacobs secured 1,165 yards and 12 touchdowns rushing, along with 238 yards in the passing game, earning him Pro Bowl honors for the first time in his young career. However, the subsequent year saw a slight decline as he missed the 1,000-yard mark for the first time, tallying 872 yards and 9 touchdowns. The Raiders, under new management and coaching, chose not to exercise his fifth-year option, a decision that ignited a fire within Jacobs, driving him to achieve a career-best year in 2022. During the 2022 season, in Week 4, Josh Jacobs embarked on a 3-game streak where he amassed over 140 rushing yards per game against the Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, and Houston Texans. Within those matchups, Jacobs scored a total of 6 touchdowns, notably securing 3 touchdowns in a game against the Texans during a 38-20 victory. Later in that season, he set a new personal single-game record by rushing for 229 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns against the Seattle Seahawks. A significant portion of Jacobs' total rushing yards came during overtime, with the game tied at 34 points each. He broke through the line from his own 14-yard line, dashed past the secondary defenders, and sprinted into the end zone for a season-high 86-yard run, sealing the game with a walk-off touchdown. By the end of the season, Jacobs had amassed 1,653 rushing yards, achieving new career highs in single-game rushing, season-long rushing, yards per carry, and total carries, totaling an impressive 340 carries. Josh Jacobs led the league in rushing yards, falling just 9 carries short of Derrick Henry, the league's rushing leader from Tennessee, who carried the football 349 times. For the first time in his career, Jacobs was named first-team All-Pro and earned his second Pro Bowl selection in 3 seasons. As free agency approached, Jacobs showcased the best performance of his football career, demonstrating his unwavering character in the face of adversity, an attribute he has carried throughout his life. Having completed his 4-year rookie contract, Jacobs earned a total of $11.9 million. He was re-signed by the Raiders on the franchise tag for the 2023 season, earning an estimated $11 million for the year. Moreover, Jacobs has actively collaborated with various charitable organizations dedicated to combating youth homelessness in America. He participated in an ad campaign with car company Kia, which aired during the Super Bowl, sharing his inspiring story with the world. From showering after high school practices and sleeping in the car to his journey with the Alabama Crimson Tide, being drafted in the first round of the NFL, and ultimately leading the league in rushing yards, Josh Jacobs epitomizes the essence of grinding one's way to success.